that. Okay, file.
No, go to the file on the Xant.
That one.
Down here.
Okay.
And then select galactic frame. Okay, so that brings up, let me move this over a little. Picture of the Milky Way. And right here, that's this little red square, that's where we're pointing at right now. It divides that, the Milky Way up into a bunch of little tiny squares, like over 1,000 of them. And so wherever you click, it will move that red square. And then I can look on a disabled Xant over here to make sure that it's high enough in the sky for us to do. Right now it's pretty good time because everything's pretty high. So go ahead and just click out another spot and we'll see if it's up.
How about that?
Once you click there, so you change the number here to 786. Let me double check it and see if that's up. Okay, we're gonna have to go more on the left-hand side of center.
Okay.
Yeah.
There.
Okay, 1064. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and click OK.
All right.
And then click on the blue button that says track. Then click yes. We want to switch to that SETI frame. Okay. So now you can watch the antenna moving.
Okay.
Doesn't have real far to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get the spectrometer started. Yeah, with SETI, once you start the SETI scan, there's really nothing else left to do with the antenna. So it's all basically data analysis.
Okay.
Some people like it, but some people think it's way too tedious. So it just depends on your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we are there, and I got the spectrometer started. Okay. So now you can just go ahead and click on SETI scan. Okay, so what it's going to be doing is the antenna is going to be just going in like a racetrack pattern. It's going to start in like an oval loop in that little square you picked out and drop down a little bit each time. And you'll be able to see that in the foresight window. You can see now, you know, like normally when we were doing black hole patrol, the antenna would just go straight up and then straight across.
Right.
Well, now it's going to making this loop over and over and over again, dropping down a little bit each time. And you'll also be able to kind of see the pattern that it makes with the X plot here. Let me put this on a little bit better. So you can see this is when we were just sitting on point. Here's where we moved, and now it's going to start making like almost, depending on the direction it's going, like a sawtooth type pattern.
Okay.
But anyhow, so that's getting started. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over here to the spectrometer data. And we're going to go over here to standard viewer. Now, did you print out a worksheet for yourself?
I did.
Okay, great. Go to standard viewer. And then we're going to go down to our data source. That's where all the files are. But we want to go all the way to the very last one. And that's the one that we're running right now. Frame 1064. Okay, so you can see the data starting to populate in there. Let me grab a sheet real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as the antenna is moving, it's constantly moving. So when we start to see these lines right here, we know they can't be real signals because that means no matter where the antenna is pointing, we're getting a signal coming in. So for instance, if we're getting a signal from outer space, we would only see that signal as the antenna sweeps across it. But there's always these signals coming in, so we know there's just some kind of something in the system or something outside of the antenna that's always tracking a signal. So what we want to do, all of this window is interactive, so we can change our color scale here. We can change our frequency range on the graph, and we can change our time range on the graph. So frequency is on the bottom, and our time range is here on the side. And we also have a feature called markers, and that kind of helps us look for what could be real signals in our graph. So if we click on display markers, it's looking for the strongest signals on that graph. But because of these interference lines, all of our markers are going to end up on this interference line. We want to go ahead and see if we can mask it or erase it. That way the computer doesn't see that line anymore, and it may help us look for some more real signals. So the masking section is down here, so we'll get to that in a second. When we're masking or when we're looking for real signals, we want to see exactly what frequency they're at and exactly how long it's on for. Real signals, how long they're on for. The interference lines, we don't care how long they're on for because they're on like most of the time. So what we want to do is we want to zoom in with our frequency range down here in order to isolate that a little